upon us, but we have the capability to participate in creating a new world order for ourselves, our descendants, our community, that represents the world that we would like to see, the order in the world that we would like to see, or at least the order in the world that is emerged from some degree of revelation. And that's what I want to talk about. An order that is liberating in the proper way.
Soldier Boy Dre. Oh,
everybody, Richard Art here. My $3,000 Valentino Rockstud purse, my $3,000 Prada jacket, $2,000 Prada shirt, $2,000 or $3,000 Prada pants,
worldwide,
Prada glasses, Prada hat,
and some
Prada bracelet, and it's all nylon.
Nigga, we made it. Hey, we made it. Nigga, we made it. Hey, damn, we made it. Nigga, we made it. Hey, we made it. Hey, nigga, we made it. Hey, we made it. Yeah.
Sherelle, what's good, brother?
Good, man. Sorry about that, y'all. Still figuring out the details here, and I was gonna say, totally forgot that was not the edited version of what the intro I made, but it's all good. But yeah, welcome back to Crypto and Down, people. It's Asherelle here with Jams and a special guest, TJ from TEXIT Coin. So we're gonna kick off the show, probably go through some prices, talk about some analytical stuff if we have time, but definitely want to hear more about what's going on the side of the TEXIT Coin in that space. So definitely here to learn, just chat about things that we're interested in the blockchain and cryptocurrency space. But with much further ado, I'll pass it over to Jams and then let TJ introduce himself as well, so we can get into some good discussions here.
Yo, shout out to all the crypto rascals out there. Today is January 20th. Grateful, happy to be back on stream with you, Asherelle, TJ, our special guest here representing the TEXIT Coin, here to educate the crypto rascals and introduce our audience to a new project, help us learn how to access, how to mine, understand more about the blockchain, how they intend to grow as a community. So we here at Crypto and Down are glad to have you here, TJ. Nice to meet you. Please tell the audience a bit more about you, your history, how you got to crypto, and then of course TEXIT Coin as well.
Yeah, no, I'm glad to be here. So awesome to always get to talk about one of my favorite subjects. But I mean, crypto in general, I've been in this space for 5 or 6 years. I remember the reason I got in crypto was because of NFTs. Like I wanted to buy an NFT, so I had to go buy crypto. It wasn't the other way around. People like want to go buy crypto and then they get into NFTs, but I was the other way around. I just saw this NFT I wanted. And I was heavily involved in that NFT space and projects and community and saw some amazing projects that were lots of fun, made some good money here and there flipping NFTs, and held on to a lot of them because I love the community. And then of course now they're all zero. But it was fun while it lasted. But I learned a lot along the way. I learned about crypto, about cycles, about analytics. There was a lot of projects I've been involved with that, we're always talking about different coins, and it really helped me in my trading aspect, and even just the concept of taking profits and having a plan and trading a plan and not being swayed by emotion. And so I've had a lot of fun over the last few years, and I think I've always maintained a level head. I haven't gone in too hard. I also I haven't been too disappointed when I lost because I knew it was, easy come, easy go kind of thing. And so the goal is to have more wins and losses. And so here I am. I found some other projects that I've loved and found one recently. So I can share about it whenever you want me to. I don't want to get into it too much. If you want me to just dive right in, I can.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely want to dive into in a second, but I just wanted to say, yeah, definitely a lot of the things that you said about getting into the space were relevant to me. Not necessarily the NFT part, but just when you're talking about trading, kind of putting your emotion out of it, learning about taking profit. It's some of the things that I've learned have definitely been more applicable to where I'm looking at stocks or like doing technical analysis and looking at charts and deciding like, okay, when do I want to get in? Having a plan for when you're looking at maybe a stock or a crypto about like, okay, is this a short-term thing or is this like a long-term? And definitely learning to take your like emotion out of it. Those have been some of the things I think I've pulled away, besides kind of learning about the analytical side, kind of how blockchain works, the different blockchains. That stuff has been fun. But I think over the past few years, I can't speak for Jans, but the cool part I think is just meeting people in these different spaces. I think when we joined kind of towards the end of the pandemic, there was Twitter, X, there was, all these different like apps to either chat or do video chat or voice chat with people for different projects, not just like the Discords, the Telegrams. So you're definitely like cross-pollinating with a lot of people with different views and different insights and experiences. So I thought that was the cool part back, I think a couple of years ago was, as there was that huge bull run, especially with like DeFi summer. It was cool just coming across so many different people. But I think the one aspect too, just taking your emotion out of it was a big learning experience. And then, I would say too, getting a crash course in the money and banking, but from a different side than probably most people who are more experienced and you could say like the traditional finance sector had. So I think that I learned a lot in the past 3 years about money, cryptocurrency, and seeing a lot of the mistakes made by people trying to recreate things that have already been done in the traditional space, but it just happens over here, I think, a little bit faster. And it seems like there's always something new to learn for sure. So yeah, a lot of things that you said, I think, resonate with me as far as like what have I experienced here. So.
Could not agree more. TJ, you said a couple of things. I was taking notes as you were introducing yourself to the crypto rascals out there. Trading the plan is such a huge thing in crypto. It's very easy to get caught up in the emotional whims of highs and lows, and ultimately become a risk-on gambler versus a crypto investor or even an enthusiast. And so I love that you said, a lot of people get into crypto, then they get into NFTs, but you actually saw an NFT that interested you, and that's how you got into crypto. So if I may ask, which crypto coin did you buy so that you could mint the NFT?
Well, at first it was Ethereum because that's where NFTs were hot.
Yep.
And so I loaded up my Coinbase account, transferred it over to MetaMask, and I was ready to buy. And it was an auction. It was actually an auction for an NFT. And the auction quickly went to like thousands of dollars. And my nice little like hundreds of dollars were not near enough.
Yeah.
So what I did is, I said, well, I've got this Ethereum. I'm going to start looking around. And so I started looking around to some of the different projects. And there were some cool ones out there, some nice communities. What was it? Some gummy bear thing that I can't remember what it was. But they had a Discord, popped in the Discord, started making friends, got a NFT, and I realized I paid like $20 or $30 in transaction fees.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I quickly distanced myself from Ethereum NFTs and jumped over to Solana, where it was even more degen. And we were they barely had the marketplace set up when I first started, and just got involved with some early projects that just took off and built huge communities and had lots of fun, and started loving the transaction fees. So Solana is where I stuck.
Nice, nice. We definitely have some history with Ethereum NFTs. We still have our OpenSea wallet that's publicly available on Crypto and Down. If anyone ever wants to check out those NFTs, and yes, they are worthless at this point. Spent thousands of dollars on those NFTs and collections. However, they sit in the wallet, and it's a good relic of 5 years ago when NFTs were really hot and we were all moving Ethereum over into MetaMask to access OpenSea or mint new collections, trying to get that next Board 8 Yacht Club or Mutant 8 Yacht or so on and so forth. So the history of NFTs was a great time to be in crypto. And Asherelle, whenever you're ready to jump into our top prices and some analytics before we dive deep into TEXIT Coin, man, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's just take a look at the market real quick. See what we got going on over here. What's happening? So I've been Jams, I've been reading a lot. I did a lot of reading in crypto over the past few weeks. One, I was just getting a recap of what the trends were for 2025 and summarized it. So go over to DeFi Llama or DeFi Llama News and check out. They have like a 2025 like state of DeFi report. So they dive into a lot of the trends and kind of setting up for what they expect to happen into next year. So they dove into the different applications. So they'll go over Bitcoin. They'll talk about Ethereum and some of the other chains, Binance, what they have going on over there. So definitely check that out for some insights. And I'll bring up some of the things that I learned as we go through this stream and some of the other streams to come. But do you want to take a look at the weekly chart, daily chart?
I think let's take a look at the daily chart, and then we'll briefly breeze at the weekly, because what I've noticed is largely reflective of the macroeconomic trends. And before we actually take a look at the market as a whole, going through our top 10, I do want to mention that our S&P 500 was down right at 2% today. With the entire crypto market being down 3.71%. Why I mentioned our S&P 500 being down 2% today is because the markets is largely reacting to Trump's announcement of potentially seizing Greenland and the subsequent tariffs that are threatened against the EU market, some of our biggest allies. And so during those periods of uncertainty, crypto markets, as well as traditional S&P 500 tech stack heavy market, are going to be in the red. And so while certain investors could react to this sentiment negatively, I see this as a buying opportunity and a chance for you to continue your dollar cost averaging. So let's jump into our prices, understanding the larger global macroeconomics that we find ourselves in, and look at prices through that lens. So yes, Bitcoin is down 3.57% today, coming in at $89,123. Ethereum solidly in our number 2 spot at 2,965. I'd love to see Ethereum get down below 2,500. I would begin to heavily start to accumulate, but I will talk about what I'm doing as I get through after I get through the top 10. Tether sitting at the number 3 spot. What's most important is the market cap of Tether at 186 billion. BNB, our man CZ, continues to do well. Here on Crypto and Down, TJ, we do have certain figures in the crypto space who we like to bring up. They're big in the news. And if you look at the last year, you will see positive uptrend for BNB, Binance. So there are certain crypto exchanges that are showing strength in the market despite the negative outflows that you've seen in other layer 1 chains or layer 2s. XRP solid in our number 5 spot, sitting at $1.90. TJ, you may recall, 5 years ago, XRP couldn't get above 25 cents. and now it is truly almost 10x that, somewhere around 8x. So for those XRP Army guys who were XRP, well, they did make 8x. It only took 8 years, but they got there. So.
Yeah, what do you think about that, TJ?
No, I mean, I haven't really followed XRP except for the people that tell me I should have bought it, and then it pumped, and I said, well, it wasn't part of my plan. I didn't add it to my plan, so I kind of just let it go. And yes, I look at it and go, oh, I should have, but there's so many coins like that for me. So I guess XRP wasn't even really on my radar. It's Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. Those are my big three, and so I kind of I was one of those people that just discounted XRP, and then when everybody said I told you so, I said, well, I missed it.
I love that sentiment. That shows you're a disciplined investor, and that you do truly stick to your plan. And as you mentioned, Solana sitting at our number 7 spot. I skipped over USDC purposefully with the market cap of just shy of 75 billion. I'm interested to see if USDC can start to eat into Tether's market cap, but that hasn't happened here recently. But back on Solana, looking at our day-to-day chart, down just shy of 5%, down $6 on the day, coming in just below $127 or just above. And if we look back to last February, Solana was trading for $260 a coin. I mean, and I know if we were participating in NFTs or meme coins at that time, I remember I had cashed a nice meme around that time for about 40 Solana, and then just started doing other DGen stuff. And as you know, in Solana, DGen activity can quickly erode your stack if you're not sticking to a plan.
Yep.
How do you feel about Solana as an ecosystem long term? Do you think that it is a viable blue chip crypto, as we now tend to argue, when a few years ago we would have argued, due to the DGen activity, that it was sort of a garbage chain? But history changes opinions. So how do you feel about that?
No, I mean, I love Solana because of the communities, because of it was kind of like the poor man's crypto. Like you didn't have to have this a stack of money. You could come in with $50 and participate, and it didn't get eaten away by transactions, fees, and you could just participate and grow your stack. And the way I've traded Solana a lot of times is I take $5 profit. I take dollars in profit, because I'm swing trading, and because I don't have to worry about transactions and things, I can do that 100 times and make $100 over the month, because I made $2 50 times. And so it's more fun, I think, too, when you can, trade with a little bit of, I'd say, ease and not as like heavy-handed as, oh, I'm trading $1,000 here. And you kind of like get your legs under you before you can go up to the higher amounts. So I like it. I think it's fun. I think it has a lot of technology that's really, really awesome. When I was in the NFT space, they had a lot of tech and development that was going to change the game. Of course, NFTs fizzled out, but there's definitely a lot they can do with their smart contracts, and all the tech, especially DeFi. DeFi is huge on Solana, and like I said, I love the low transaction fee, and you can swap tokens very easily.
Block speed is paramount these days, and total value locked is something we'll look at as we get to analytics. And I definitely agree with all of those points when it comes to Solana. Solana is one of the blue chips in my portfolio that I am currently dollar cost averaging. Tron in our number 8 spot, trading at 30 cents a coin, down 4.2%. Tron and BNB Binance are the 2 coins in our top 10 who've shown the most strength over the last 2 quarters since Bitcoin has come back from its all-time high. And so if you look over a year period there, you'll actually see an uptrend versus other coins that are in the top 10. So shout out to Justin Sun, shout out to CZ for sort of irking the market, trading adverse or in converse direction of where the rest of the market has been trending over the last few quarters. Lido staked ETH, which is just staked ETH, right? Just over 27 billion. And then Dogecoin rounding out our top 10 at 13 cents a coin. Elon Musk, richest man in the world, still can't get Dogecoin to $1. But hey, it's not at 6 cents, it's actually at 13 cents. So if you did buy at those 6 cents lows, you still made 100% on your money. So sometimes you don't always have to be the smartest investor in the room. You just have to hold on for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, that's
Hey, see, 6 cents. That 6 cent range was there to be bought for from 22 and a half all the way to 24. And if you bought anywhere in that period of time, you are in profit. And so,
yeah, I've been reading too. They're trying to make it more usable and trying to figure out like real world use cases. I think the founder and some of the developers. So I'm sure they're still searching for ways to make it more usable. But to me, I think this is still one of those blockchains, just since it's kind of, I think, based off of Bitcoin, has a lot of similarities. Maybe like, I don't know how much of it they forked off and kept that's similar to Bitcoin, but I still think it's there's something there. So if they can find, I don't know, some use cases, or I think as the, we could say, the entire Bitcoin ecosystem, whether it's the different forks like the Bitcoin Cashes, the Dogecoins, the BSVs, some of them are kind of out there doing their own thing. Some things don't make sense, and if we add in the e-caches, those are all, the same, forked off each other in the same line. So as time moves forward, it may not be in our lifetime for sure, as far as like the real world use cases, that they all kind of work together. But I do think there is something there as far as the ecosystem of all the blockchains related to Bitcoin, and something that they can have some real world application. Each one of them is doing their own thing, but they could all definitely work together in some sense. All that to say that, this is not necessarily a bad investment to look at for a long term, I think, performance.
And I do just want to touch on sort of my current investment strategy. Overall, nothing we say here is financial advice, just simply a couple of brothers sharing things publicly that we otherwise could share amongst ourselves privately. But during this period of macroeconomic uncertainty, it's definitely not the time, TJ, where I feel comfortable making $1,000 buys, because there's just too much uncertainty, too much risk. S&P 500, your major tech stocks are down 2% on the day. Crypto's bleeding 5 to 7% on any given day, and you don't want to catch a falling red candle. So what I've decided to do is to lower my purchase down to $30 a day. I am dollar cost averaging through this bear market at $30 a day. $10 worth of Bitcoin, $8 worth of Ethereum, $6 worth of Solana, $5 worth of Chainlink, $1 of USDC, and I'm doing that every day, 7 days a week for the next foreseeable future. Dollar cost averaging $210 a day, or excuse me, a week for the next 52 weeks. And the reason why I'm choosing to not dumpster dive and go outside of the top 10 is because I believe these blue chips are going to hold the most value over the next 3 to 5 to 10 years. And rather than chasing 10x, 20x, and 50x and 100x, as I've done in certain meme coins and during certain DeFi periods, and during chasing certain narratives such as AI or RWA or DPN, I'm going to stick to the blue chips. I'm going to become a Warren Buffett traditional style investor into we deploy that trade my plan philosophy to the crypto space and see if that ends up netting me more from a percentage wise gain over time than if I were to try to time the market correctly or make big buys where I assume the bottom is and ultimately lose more dollars if I were just to be disciplined and consistent over time. So that's where that's how I'm currently accumulating during this bear cycles. No more big buys for me. I'm sticking to the plan, and I'm also doing the same in the traditional space. I am doing weekly buys of EFTs into my Roth IRA, weekly buys or monthly buys of EFTs into the kids minor Roths, and then to the individual brokerage. I'm doing bi-weekly buys of EFTs. It's time to take the passive, automated, recurring buying approach of dollar cost averaging over time and seeing how that nets over the next 5 to 10 versus trying to be a true trader. I'm moving to invest.
Sounds like a solid plan.
Yeah, can I sort of argue with that? I'm still trying to formulate an investment strategy. You know, you mentioned geopolitics and the market being impacted by that, and I think there's a lot of moving parts. So, you know, for example, we were talking about Venezuela the other day. I was just reading an article about how on peer-to-peer exchanges, once I think right around the time they were seizing Maduro, but even before the price of the Tether USDT stablecoin that was trading at $1.40 on peer-to-peer exchanges as people were scrambling to get out of their currency into the Tether stablecoin. So I'm looking at, I like to review what you mentioned there about just buying USDC. I do think the stable coins are, you know, potentially depending on how you decide to use them, a good way to hedge your bets as far as getting into a different type of currency that will become more prevalent, not necessarily not just here, but in different markets, where you know there could be some arbitrage potential as well to sell to people in some peer-to-peer exchanges. Maybe not necessarily here in the U.S. right now, but in other countries as they're trying to get out of their specific currencies and into whatever U.S. stablecoin that they can. So the Venezuela stuff's going on with Pakistan and Trump's World Liberty Fi and his USD1 stablecoin that they have going on over there. So I haven't formulated a thesis particularly for that yet, but with all the different stablecoins that are out there, you talk USDT, USDC, USD1, USDS. God, there's so many now with the like the BlackRocks and the PayPal's getting into the game too. So that I say that could be a safe bet too, because if they're 1-for-1 for the dollar, yes, they could break their peg and go down. But as things get a little bit shaky here, and they're maybe trying to move the financial system over into blockchain tokenization rails, the upside for some of those different stable coins to go up, I think, are higher to break their peg to the upside as people are trying to get out of their regular currencies into them. So
that's
about stablecoin wars. Yeah, I don't know. I just was reading stuff and I was like, that could be some way too where you hedge your bets, where you're also for us too. You know, who knows what will happen? Laws that will pass for us, whether they say, hey, you can only use USDC for us here in the U.S. or a particular stablecoin potentially. Wyoming has their own stablecoin too, which is more on the public side. So, like I like what you're saying about getting exposure to dollar cost averaging too, but something I was thinking about too is just getting exposure to different stablecoins as things get a little bit shaky. You never know what you could buy, or the arbitrage could be with different.
Give you options.
Yeah.
And stable coins allow me to deploy capital into coins that may be down 20%, you know, over a week period, and I want to take advantage of that opportunity. But I love something that you said that I don't hear often in the crypto space is when we talk about depegging, we always talk about depegging to the downside. We always talk about things becoming less valuable, but things can depeg to the upside, and that is a arbitrage opportunity. And so something that we rarely focus on is the options that stablecoin could provide you to potentially actually make more money on something that you're holding at a $1 value. If someone is desperate, desperately in need of a stablecoin that they can utilize for cross-border payments, then you holding something that they need is more valuable to them than it was at the price that you bought it, and therefore you can sell it for that profit. I appreciate that theory that you just posited, because it's not something that's often talked about, and it is important. And would love to just quickly jump into the analytics, as I know we're well already 40 minutes into the show and we haven't gotten it.
Just 30. All right, we can do what do you want to look at on the analytics side?
I just want to quickly look at total value locked.
Okay, let's do that real quick and then we can get to TEXIT.
And then we can jump directly into TEXIT Coin. Turn it over to Thomas to give us our deep dive and go from there. So taking a look at total value locked in DeFi, looks like just under $120 billion locked in total. DEX volume for the day looks at about 15 billion. And DEX versus central exchange dominance, 41%. Want to see that number continue to grow over time, as that is a great indicator of not only retail involvement, but I think overall crypto market health. And so sometimes these metrics are ways for us to sort of put on our crypto desk analyst hat and to get a glean into the overall health of the market outside of macroeconomic noise, such as tariffs or a military invasion of Greenland. There's a 22% weekly change in DeFi activity. To me, that says that crypto isn't dead, crypto isn't dying, although price may reflect it due to the macroeconomic sense. So this would encourage me, please stay the course of my dollar cost averaging, because ultimately there are buyers, there is activity, there is a uptick in volume, and decentralized activity is starting to eat into centralized exchange activity. And ultimately, people aren't playing DeFi games when they aren't making money. ETF inflows, I think, is a great indicator as well, but that's also a traditional market indicator. You've seen ETF inflows flow negative for 24 hours with 210 million leaving. You won't see the Bitcoin price turn positive until you see those ETF inflows turn positive. That's truly how our markets are going to move. We used to always say that crypto was decoupled from our stock markets, but sorry, buddy, when somebody's moving $210 million in and out of ETFs, that's going to move the price one way or the other. So these are the kind of metrics which generally give me an indication of what's happening in the space. Fees paid, I think, is another good indicator when you're looking at potential protocols to invest in over time. Tether, we know how they're doing. Circle, USDC, Meteor, Pump. These are ones that I would put into AI XBT and just read a bit more on the settlement. Next is Aave, Hyperliquid. These are all DeFi protocols. Jupiter, Uniswap, exchanges on Astra, exchanges on BNB, exchanges on Solana, exchanges independent such as Hyperliquid. You know, Aave, gold standard on Ethereum. If you're interested in potentially expanding outside of the top 10, as you're well aware, TJ, then I use these fees paid to sort of look at how much activity is happening on those particular projects, if you want to call them, and if that's something that could be a long-term growth indicator for not only my portfolio, but for the crypto space as well.
Yeah, very interesting. I know Jupiter is a Solana project, so I'm very familiar with Jupiter. And I've lost a lot of money on Hyperliquid one time when there was that liquidation event that happened a few months ago. I was in one of those vaults that had literally leverage of like 1.0 something, but it still got liquidated to zero.
Wow. Yeah, and that's one thing that we try to caution against is the leverage in perpetuals game. Even if it's low leverage, the exchanges will find a way to liquidate you. And the only safe way not to be liquidated is not to play. So
yeah, that was a lesson learned. I didn't know we were leveraged in that vault. I thought it was just a trading vault. And right after that, when they had to come say, yeah, we weren't leveraged that much, but even that 01 or 02 just it completely zeroed the account.
And that's the other thing that I saw over the weekend was that there's still speculation that there's a lot of manipulation happening in the crypto markets from our market makers,
always,
such as Wintermute, Masari, Coinbase, Binance, other large exchanges that ultimately, you know, when they see lots of longs in the space and lots of activity, they're going to chase liquidations, and they're going to all do coordinated dumps or pumps to ensure that they make money long term. So the only way not to be a part of that is not to play. I'm tired of getting rug pulled. I am tired of being everything under the sun. So now I am just truly a dollar cost average, stick to it. And, you know, I'll see y'all in 30 years when it's time to retire. So.
All right.
I'm taking my beatings outside, man. I don't know how many more I can take.
It's rough, but you learn.
You do that. And that's the thing about crypto is that if it interests you, you do have to pay your dues. You have to pay your tuition. Sometimes paying your tuition is losing your money. And unfortunately, once you learn that lesson, you are well equipped to avoid that same pitfall in the future. So,
yeah, for sure.
Doing business in crypto, we've done our deep dive into price. We've done our deep dive into analytics. But the reason why you are here, TJ, is to really introduce our audience and us as a whole into TEXIT Coin, and tell us about what interests you about TEXIT Coin. Asherel, I'm sure you likely have done at least a surface level glance, deep dive look into TEXIT Coin, and we can pull up the website. You know, you can take us through sort of your journey with TEXIT. We'll turn it over to you, and you know, let us hear.
Yeah, no. The website's actually they're just revamping everything, so the website's not too exciting right now. But no, you heard my background as I was in those NFT magic days where the communities were just hopping. You had friends, and so TEXIT Coin really reminded me of an old school NFT project, and doing all the things that you wish you could have done back then. Like there was always this promise of this amazing community, and they were going to do real life events, and you know, the Bored Ape Yacht Club actually had huge parties and stuff like that, and they had, you know, all these things that these NFT projects, some of them got to do and some of them just promised. But that's kind of like what sticks out with me was TEXIT Coin. And yes, it's a cryptocurrency. What it is, it's a layer 1 proof of work coin that's mined exclusively in Texas. So Bobby Gray, which is the founder and leader, decided, you know, I want to make a splash here in the crypto community, because he had done alternative currencies with gold and silver. He even testified in front of Congress way back in the day. And when he realized that, you know, he had that aha moment where digital was the future and not going backwards into gold and silver, he really started looking into what can I do? How can I make honest money? Because his passion is to to have honest money that like Bitcoin nowadays is mined by China and a lot of big BlackRock holds it. It's like, so it kind of got away from its original game, its original, decentralized, coins for the people kind of, goal, and it became, digital gold, which is fine. It's people made a lot of money on it, but it's gotten away from its original idea of crypto in general. And so he decided that in order to, get noticed, he wanted to make his own coin. This isn't like a meme coin or something, but he actually wanted to build a mine and put it all around Texas. So it's decentralized in the fact that it's different containers all around Texas, but it's still kind of centralized within Texas. And of course, he's the leader, so it's kind of a little bit of a hybrid method. It's a permission-based network, so you can't just get on and mine yourself. And so he created basically a crowdsourcing project to fund his vision. Didn't take venture capitalist money or any of the big dogs' money. He wanted to make it with normal people. And in doing that, you have to build a community. And just sharing it with others and bringing them into the community to have fun, to learn about crypto. That's what really sparked me. It was, yes, I have these, dollar signs in my eyes that someday it's going to make a lot of money. But we're in the building phase right now, and the blockchain's about 28% where they want it to be. And this crowdsourcing project is the biggest, I think, crypto raise ever, or top 5. They've raised 140 million already, and the money that has been raised has been to build the mine, to build those fancy computers, to promote the coin, which is a huge chunk of it. And I know I've been on Solana with meme coins and things, and they try to get coins going, but they have no money to market, no money to promote, no money to develop it. It's always, hey guys, hold on to your coins and, buy more so that we can have some money. In the old NFT days, you minted an NFT and they had millions of dollars, and then they promised they were going to do all this development work, and they never did. This crowdfunding kind of project really caught my eye on just what their vision was and what he wants to do. And it's every time I learned a little bit more, I just got more and more impressed by it. I was afraid to share it at first because it's like, oh, you're right, it might be a rug. I thought it was a calculated risk in order to get in. And what you do is when you contribute to the crowdsourcing model that they have, you become a miner and you buy a seat, a mining license or a mining seat as part of the mining pool, and you get a daily reward of TXC, which is their coin. And so every day, like my wallet, it dings with TXC, getting dropped in it, and so there's a little bit of a passive income. The coin price isn't where we want it to be right now, but we have plans to actually add utility and drive it higher. But another thing that they did is they kind of wrapped the crowdsourcing in an affiliate like kind of model where you can actually earn more mining power, as you share. So if you share it with 3 people, you get a bonus seat, so to speak. And it's a way for normal people that don't have tens of thousands of dollars to get in this, get in a project and quickly make either their money back or increase that daily reward as time goes on. And then when the coin is worth more, they'll have stacked a ton of coins. And they also have you get paid USDC for sharing it. New site coming soon. Yes, the developers are hard at work. That's the promise here in the last couple of days, is that it's going to be done soon. There's actually a few sites out there. The Mine TXC is actually their mining site where you can sign up to be a miner. And
Okay.
So minetxc.com, and it kind of shows you what the blockchain analytics are and how many miners and all this stuff. But I think the funnest thing is I actually met the founder last weekend. They did a track day at the G2 Motorsports track up in Anna, Texas. And and all the big dogs were there. The founder was there, and I got to shake his hand and get a picture and talk to him for a second. And his passion. He has spent so much time on this project just when he didn't have to. It's really hard to think that has any kind of nefarious, or rug pull kind of vibes at all. I mean, there's always the risk that his crypto and his plan doesn't work out. But I think I've put to bed, at least for me, that it's not going to be some rug pull. I mean, you can see here how they use their funds, and how there's 58,000 miners right now or so, and a lot of it is promoting the coin, and then paying back people that help share and get this mine sold out. And it's just fun. Like, the community,
And where is the proof of mine located?
There's the mining containers are in McKinney, Victoria, Texas, Mansfield. I can't remember. There's containers going all around Texas.
It's a distributed network throughout Texas. From that.
Yes,
standpoint. Okay.
And I don't know if you're familiar with fog hashing containers. They basically come loaded with, I forget how many machines are in it, and they have a liquid cooled machines. They just hook up, set up these big containers, and hook them to the network, and they get mining. And they want to get to 100 gigahash mine, I think, which means about 1 million seats, so to speak. And then they cut it off and they say no more TEXIT Coin miners. And so that TEXIT Coin reward won't change for everybody once the last miner gets put in. And it's going to be mined for, of course, there's halvings and but for 100 years or whatever. But just like Bitcoin, I think it's a Litecoin clone. That's how they started out, but they've changed some of the code, and so the transaction fees are low. But the thing that excites me most about right now is they're not just about coin price, building the mine. They actually have real world utility. We already have our first project using the blockchain. McKinney is holding a fair and festival June 6th. And they have our first layer 2 project is called Downtown Digital Dollars. And so they will use Downtown Digital Dollars for that festival and fair, just like tickets you would buy. But people are going to be using crypto not even knowing it, because it's going to be running on the TEXITcoin blockchain. And so every person that transacts is going to need a little bit of TXC. So you multiply that, by hundreds of fairs and festivals around the area, then, scale it up. And we're talking a $3 trillion industry or something like that, that if they even get 1% of it, it's going to be a ton of use of the blockchain and buying pressure on that TXC. And everybody's really excited about that, because they are already doing things that most projects promise, and then they start, but they've already been doing this. And it's the weirdest thing, because I'm used to crypto projects hyping everything up and hyping instead of saying, oh, we did this thing and it's ready now, and we did all the development already and it's ready to go. We're testing out, beta testing right now. Our first real use of it is June 6th this year. I mean, they're moving, and it's really impressive to see, and refreshing to see them not hyping it up, because they believe they have a business solution, a unique business solution that they don't want to tip their hats on, but they just have to give us enough to know that it's going to be used in the TEXITcoin blockchain. And they are already signed on hundreds of fairs and festivals in the future, as long as they can prove the concept right here in McKinney. And that's pretty exciting to me,
Awesome. Asherelle, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, you kind of answered the questions I was gonna ask. Like, the one was about the use cases and and I think with blockchain, because there's so many, I guess there's maybe so many things that people try to do with blockchain, but I think at the main aspect is just allowing commerce for people, like you were talking about with like the state fairs. But with the roadmap, what are some of the other things that that you see kind of besides I mean, along with the fairs, like along with like the state with the different fairs in different towns, like on the roadmap for I guess businesses to use? It's more so like proving this first concept and just going and trying with other similar events, or what are some of the other things that you see them utilizing the blockchain?
What they call downtown digital dollars is going to be their fairs and festivals,
Okay.
kind of like company, and it's a separate entity that they're going to use, but it's going to use the blockchain. So they are already signing up vendors. They have McKinney's going to be the testing bed for it, and they've already lined up a lot of people that want to use it because it saves money for the vendors, it saves money for the town, it keeps money in the town. So as a solution for a digital currency for a community, it wins on all the basis. And so all they have to do is show this and prove it to them that it works, and that people are gonna have an ease of use, with onboarding and offboarding. And I know they've already lined up some vendors in McKinney to accept this downtown digital dollar outside of the fairs and festivals. So when the fair is over, you have, you leave a fair and you have like 5 tickets left. What do? You hand them to somebody walking in, or you throw them away because they're not useful anymore. But with this, you'll have like, I have $10 left of this digital dollar, which is going to be, backed 1-to-1 with whatever, dollars people bought it with. You want to go get an ice cream down at the ice cream shop. I have $10, I'll go spend it there. And so they stay in McKinney. And then that vendor accepts this downtown digital dollar, just like they would accept Apple Pay or anything else. It's that easy. And then the owner of the building has decided to accept downtown digital dollar to pay rent. And that's already set up. So you've got big supporters in McKinney that are willing to provide a whole ecosystem for this coin already. And that's just one city in Texas. So, and then of course it can expand as far as it wants. I know we're already, this is, I guess, what we consider phase 1 was building the mine, and we're in the middle of that right now. And they've already released phase 2, which is this, one of the first projects for phase 2 is this downtown digital dollar. And then they've already started talking about phase 3, which is once we have proof of concept for this local area in Texas, I think I don't know exactly what's going on because they haven't announced it yet, that there will be other localities in other areas around the world that could kind of like clone us, so to speak, and do kind of similar thing for their local community. So what TEXITcoin is creating is more local community currency focused, instead of like going for the worldwide domination.
Yeah.
Well, you do that enough times and you really start to like just grassroots grow across the country and then the world. So I mean,
I'd be interested to see that, because I think, at its core, what gets lost sometimes with, I guess, in the space is, these are basically public ledgers that allow, a certain element of trust and truth. So at its core, that's what it's meant to be used for, for not meant, but it's like, it can have its most impact to local communities. And watching different, people who I've been following over the years try to test projects to do stuff locally, it definitely is something that takes a lot of effort and jumping through hoops and working with like local vendors to be able to provide them like an efficient way to do commerce that they wouldn't have before. So that I didn't know that. I didn't read that part when I was kind of skimming through. So that part I think is interesting. I don't know if you're going to say anything, Jams, to kind of piggyback on.
Yeah, I do have a couple of questions. Of course, all projects have their diehard believers, and then the naysayers. And so everyone, no matter if it's Bitcoin or Chainlink, or if in this instance it's TEXIT, has an opinion. So before we get to those, I want to actually just talk about some of the logistics some of the facts surrounding TEXIT Coin. Where can the crypto rascals, if they were interested in purchasing TEXIT Coin, acquire? Is it available on centralized exchanges? Is it available on decentralized exchanges?
Yes.
Where's the most frequented or the best place to obtain TEXIT Coin?
Yeah, well, the original exchange, DeFi exchange we were on was DexTrade. You can go on Coinbase, or not Coinbase, we're not on Coinbase yet. CoinMarketCap, and it lists all the exchanges. There's also a wrapped version if you want to do Uniswap. I think I use Phoenix US. That's one of our big ones. That's a centralized exchange, a smaller one.
PNX. Got you.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few of them for sure. It's definitely not, a big hang up that a lot of people say, oh, it's not on Coinbase, I don't even look at it. That requires a lot, and you can be a meme coin and bump your, your market cap to $1 billion and get on there. But, TEXIT Coin is there was nothing pre-mined, and so we're still mining out, and we got a long trying to do. I think DexTrade is a little bit hard for the uninitiated with DeFi, because it's a little hard. I know. I think MEX or Meek, that's not a US thing. Like, some of these things aren't US based, so they're hard to get to if you're you're in the US. But Phoenix is definitely one of our good US ones. So,
got you. So I did pull up CoinMarketCap, and I don't know how valid some of these numbers are, because it says like holders are 337, and I just find that really hard to believe that there are only 337 holders.
Yeah, there's definitely 58,000, because that's how many miners have, and every day they get coins, so they can't, even if they sold it every day right away, they would still be listed as a holder.
That number doesn't make sense. And then this other number that doesn't really make sense to me either, is that the top 10% hold 89% of the coins. To me, that's like worse than any meme coin or rug I've ever seen in history. That's X 2.0. If we talking 90% of, if you scroll down, Asherel.
What that is the original mining wallet that got it before anybody else has more in it than anything else. So
that's the origin address wallet.
So the first concept, however many weeks, all the TEXIT Coin was going there. And I know that our founder, Bobby, has been very transparent on how much he has in his cold wallet. He has like 2 million coins in his cold wallet, I think, or something like that. I don't know if that's on there.
No, I mean, the top wallet is 229,000.
Okay.
So just shy of 50% of the supply, which today is worth just under 200K.
And that percentage continues to drop as the mine produces more coins, because as the mining output is spread out between more and more people, that percentage is actually slowly creeping down.
Oh wait, so yeah, I can see, I get what you're saying, because we're in an inflationary period right now. So Ashra, if you look on the left hand side, our self-reported circulating supply is right at 59 million TXC, of a total supply of 64 and a half. But that number right next to it, the max supply, is where we're inflating to. So technically, we are in a kind of hyperinflationary period, to where our fully diluted market cap hasn't technically been realized yet.
Right.
As yes, that 46% top wallet will ultimately be a lower percentage over time as the supply continues to inflate towards that target max supply. And there will have to be some need for a buy and burn mechanism function as supply continues to inflate to create some sort of buy pressure or positive price appreciation.
And that's where the downtown digital dollar comes into play, because you have to have TXC to transact the downtown digital dollar. So every time you buy the downtown digital dollar, like for a fair or festival, you have to buy TXC. And a lot of these people, it just gets locked in the wallet. So it's almost like a burn, because it's not going to be.
It's taken out of circulating supply.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the more downtown digital dollars people buy for more fairs, you'll see more buy pressure on it. At least that's the theory. That's the goal.
Now, sorry, I have one more question. Well, one more topic, one more question. Topic is price. Price is huge. That's what everyone mostly cares about at the end of the day. And when the price is down 98%, from all-time high, it's hard to get new buyers, and it's hard to get rid of the scam accusations. If they would have bought, a year ago, they would be and sold, at $6, they would be thousands of X into profit.
And that's what a lot of people did. I know that there have been, examples of people that bought houses when it hit that $6 mark and they cashed out. And so a lot of the early people saw that as a chance to take some profit, and they did. And that's kind of when TEXIT Coin started being traded more openly as a market instead of just a chart, because there was no volume before then, right? It was just a gradual increase in price because there wasn't a lot of people trading, and they could manipulate the chart, and then just buy and just keep spend $1 million and just buy it and buy it and buy it and here and there, and now it's more driven by the market. It came tumbling down a little bit. And also, I think just like with any project, the fear and uncertainty and doubt people that came up and said, this isn't going anywhere, this was all a scam, and it's what's the big deal about building a mine and all these things, and it scared a lot of people, and that's why we came tumbling down, on top of it being a kind of a downward crypto in general season here the last couple of months. So we're hoping that just with this, especially with the utility, actually going and doing the utility, not just promising it, is going to keep people excited again and start getting that price back up.
Gotcha. Sorry. Once I start doing a deep dive into the coin, I start noticing things. And so I just noticed this wallet, and I was like, hey, who's this wallet that's out here selling pretty frequently? And I just wanted to check their balance and holdings, but that's not the point. The actual point here is that liquidity is something else that I noticed. It's not a honeypot. It's verified. It's not a rug pull. It's not a fake token. Has very low volume on decentralized exchange, medium volume on centralized exchange. But from a liquidity standpoint, there's about $125,000 of liquidity on decentralized exchanges. Is that a concern for you at all?
Well, I'm not quite sure how that all works, because they definitely are putting liquidity into the various places. They have, I'm not sure how they do it, but there's a certain percentage each week that they put toward liquidity. And they do have liquidity reserves. They call them liquidity reserves, but I'm not quite sure exactly what they're going to do with them. But they have, $1 million in Bitcoin, $1 million in Ethereum, some USDC sitting on the side, ready to inject if they really needed to. I really don't know how that works in their plan for that. I mean, that's beyond my expertise.
I think that's something to be a metric that, we sort of look at when we're looking at total value lock, is understanding how much liquidity is available on the centralized exchanges for trading, and how, say if you had $1 million in TEXIT Coin today, how much could you go on Uniswap and get out today? Well, there's 145,000 total, and so if 10 of you wanted to sell 10,000, then that would add significant sell pressure and cause a cascading of price. So it's just a question to ensure that we're all aware of all of the data points. Not saying one's good, one's bad.
Yeah, no, I mean that's the thing about being, and this is like a startup. It's there's going to be some risks associated with it that if you're not comfortable with, you don't do it. If you get the vision of the people and you think that they're going to go the direction that they say they're going to go, so far they've done everything that they said they're going to do, and they've done it consistently. And so it's like, okay, I'm willing to take that risk. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to have people, I guess, continuing to build and move forward to get things done. I think it's I have a little bit of a different opinion on the entire Bitcoin space than a lot of people. I think the closer to zero the network is, the price is, the better it probably is for people who actually want to grow it. That's from like a commerce standpoint. So I mean, if you have to have it in your wallet to transact, I think it's just that friction between people who are buying and wanting the price to go up, and then people who are maybe actually utilizing the network for its intended purpose as a ledger, open ledger to do commerce. So I think an interesting point, just like looking at some of the stuff that Jams looked at, and interesting for me to know, because I had heard about this coin, I think a couple of years ago, actually being in like a Telegram group from like people who are involved in the Hex. It was like Texans for Hex or whatever, and they'd mentioned this, so I hadn't really kept up with it since I heard about it. So it's some of the things like I'd first read were calling out the project for being a little bit sketchy, not delivering on some things in the miners and stuff like that. But from listening to you, it sounds like they've at least been delivering on their plan and roadmap. And there are things coming down as far as what they are trying to do locally. And the other aspect too is I do like that it's based off of like a proof of work blockchain as well, which I think adds a little bit more validity than it would, in my opinion, if it were proof of stake. There are people would say, oh, it's semantics in comparison of the two types of blockchains, but I do think with the proof of, like to its name, you do have to put some effort out in there to validate the network, burn some energy. So that aspect too, I think, between the proof of work and the proof of stake blockchains, as like we kind of move into this new cycle, because now I think it's getting where the industry is, the grown-ups are here, the government's here, the banks are here. So I think that's another thing I kind of lost sight of in the past few years, just seeing different proof of work blockchains that are out there that are doing things in local communities. So I definitely think that's something to follow, and I'll be be checking this out as far as the year goes on to see kind of how they're delivering on some of those things and see if McKinney is a success and they're able to extrapolate that out to other towns or cities.
Agree. I really appreciate you coming on and introducing us to the downtown digital dollar as a addendum to the TEXIT coin, as I hadn't heard of that, and I do think that's a viable use case to help defend price and also to gen some additional marketing as well. As ultimately many of these coins depend on familiarity, virality, word of mouth, and then confidence that price is going to appreciate based on gut feeling at the end of the day. So I really, really thank you, TJ, for coming on. Didn't want to keep you this long. But I appreciate you having some patience with us early on as we talk crypto, we talk markets, we talk the analytics, and then we deep dive into a specific project that our audience likely isn't aware of, that they now can go research, learn more about, explore. And if you look at the last year, TEXIT Coin is up 408%. If you look at overall, it is up 1,216%. So that's a 12x if you bought it day one. That's a 4x if you bought it a year ago. So when people call scam, as they used to say on Hex, you just bought it at the wrong time.
Yeah. And I don't know if I can, I made a little website that I definitely don't pull it up, but like, I thought what can be a way, like if anybody's watching this and they want to actually talk to me, schedule like a little quick powwow or discovery call. I made minewithtj.com.
Awesome. We can drop it into the chat for our audience.
No judgment on the website. I literally stood it up in a day and threw a calendar invite on there if anybody wants to talk about it more and learn about it, because the affiliate nature of the project, I love to get credit for it.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. And that's actually really, really dope. Asherelle, if you don't mind, I mean, you can pull it up and we'll show the video. And then we'll put it into the comment section.
Yeah, and I'll drop it in the description when I go back and edit it. So
description, that way it'll be there moving forward.
Cool. It's been fun.
Yeah, we'll show this video and then we'll outro it. And thank you, bro. This was a great chat.
Yeah, it was good meeting you, man.
It was nice to learn about TEXIT Coin, but it was great to have another long-term crypto person here on the conversation with us, bringing the perspectives of someone who came to the crypto space through NFTs, but now has expanded into mining other layer one blockchains. So without further ado, man.
You don't mind if we show the video? Or
oh man, it's yeah, go ahead.
Okay, we don't have to. You don't want to, but just so people can see, it's www.minewithtj.com. Yeah, we don't mind. We'll give you some.
Mining. Hi, this is Thomas J, and we are mining TEXIT Coin. I've been in crypto for about 5 or 6 years, and TEXIT Coin really hit on my key points. It has a fantastic community and has tons of potential. So what is TEXIT Coin? TEXIT Coin is a layer 1 proof of work coin that's mined exclusively in Texas. It's truly a made in America blockchain. It's the brainchild of the co-founder and fearless leader Bobby Gray. He's an expert in alternative currencies, even testified in Congress back in the early 2000s. So what did he do? He decided to step into the future to make honest money right here in Texas.
That's it.
There you have it.
Awesome. I love it, man. That's a great pitch for us to wrap with. Thank you for coming to introduce the Crypto Rascals to TEXIT Coin. I'm excited to see what happens in the coming months and years. We wish you the best, Thomas, or TJ, as you're better, more affectionately known, and excited to see what happens. Asherelle, as always, peace be, bro. Nothing but love for you. Peace to all the crypto rascals out there.
Yeah, appreciate you, James.